Good evening. I'm Byron Scott with a CTV News update. The Arc of Prince George's says it's worried that the governor may end a program aimed at helping people with disabilities and their caregivers. The Arc says the state may shut down a program known as Appendix K in August. Appendix K gives caregivers flexibility to provide residential and group home services to people with disabilities. The Arc of Prince George's says thanks to the program, despite COVID-19, it's been able to serve clients.
What we're asking him for is we're just asking him for time. We're asking him to take a moment, look at the provisions that Appendix K puts forth, look at the vulnerabilities of our population, and help us come up with a comprehensive plan that allows for us to responsibly reintegrate the people that we support into the community.
Appendix K was expected to remain in effect through 2022. The health department says it met with the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Coalition yesterday to discuss the Appendix K program. Well, Maryland House Speaker Adrienne Jones has announced her support for a referendum to legalize cannabis on the 2022 election ballot. Jones also announced the creation of a cannabis work group to put together a legalized cannabis program in Maryland in anticipation that voters will approve the ballot question. The work group will determine the regulatory, licensing, and oversight of the production, sale, and possession of legalized marijuana. Jones says this will all be done with an eye toward equity and consideration of black and brown neighborhoods historically impacted by cannabis use. The work group will begin meeting this fall. Well, a nonpartisan government work group calls for reforms to the U.S. Supreme Court. The Project on Government Oversight's Constitution Project consists of a panel of former judges and legal scholars. It released a report last week with recommendations on how to restore the public trust. The Supreme Court has been shaped by partisan battles in recent decades as conservatives solidified a 6-3 majority.
Lifetime tenure has come to mean that it's a way for politicians to be able to capture the court and entrench power, long after those politicians are in office, which is not a healthy thing in a democracy. And so our group has endorsed 18-year, non-renewable 18-year term limit for Supreme Court justices, after which time they could roll off onto, say, a lower federal court and could still continue to hear cases. And so they wouldn't sort of lose their status as a federal court judge. In addition, we have endorsed a Supreme Court Code of Conduct. This is another place where the nation's highest court is an outlier. This is a court that issues decisions that affect the lives of millions of people and the rights of so many. But it is the only court in the country that is not held to a judicial code of conduct. And so we think the time has certainly come for the Judicial Conference or the Congress to promulgate a code of conduct so that we at least have standards that we expect these justices to adhere to once they are elevated to the bench.
Other recommendations include increasing the number of seats on the court and having a smaller panel of judges hear cases rather than all 9 members, a practice that's employed by federal appellate courts. To view the report, go to pogo.org. And a man is fatally shot in Clinton this morning. Police were called to the 11,500 block of Tippett Road for a vehicle crash. That's where officers found a man in a car suffering from gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Any more information on the case is asked to contact Crime Solvers at 1-866-411-TIPS. And gunfire rings out on Jefferson Street in the Arts District in Hyattsville, with bullets striking at least 3 businesses, including busboys and poets, along with an apartment. Here's some video of 2 of the suspects and their vehicle, a white BMW SUV. Investigators say a man with a rifle opened fire on another vehicle, a Toyota Highlander. Police are looking for the suspects and both SUVs. It happened last night just before 9:30. Police say at least 1 bullet went through the window at Busboys and Poets, which was hosting an event at the time. No one was injured. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Well, in other news, here are the latest COVID-19 numbers for our area. Of the 183 new cases confirmed since yesterday, 39 are right here in Prince George's County. The positivity rate is at 1.18%, and the health department confirms that 5 people have died of COVID since yesterday. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Coming up, dancing at the Foreman Art Studio in Hyattsville with Keisha Butts. Stay with us.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that moment, her life changes forever. The toll is great. the need is greater. The need to find comfort in the dark hours. The need to find hope in the cures. And that's why when others look away, we lean in. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change everything. But we need your help to make more moments of hope possible. Join our fight, save lives, because we are all stronger together.
Welcome back. The Capitol Gazette gunman is found criminally responsible for killing 5 people at the paper's Annapolis facility. The verdict rejects the defense's claim of mental illness. Now, the trial began last month, 3 years after the attack that killed 5 Gazette employees. The jury took less than 2 hours to find that Gerard Ramos understood his actions and was therefore criminally responsible. The verdict means the 41-year-old will be sentenced to prison and not a mental health facility. Prosecutors are seeking 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole. And 3 Prince George's County men have been charged with stealing more than $1.4 million in unemployment benefits from several states, including Maryland. This is the Hyattsville complex where the operation was based. According to investigators, the men filed for benefits from 4 states and used 2 addresses in Hyattsville. Records indicate that 175 prepaid cards were sent to those addresses. Investigators say they have surveillance video of the men depositing money from the prepaid cards. They say many of the victims were unaware their ID had been stolen. And Montgomery County considers a bill to provide extra protections for renters beyond the pandemic. It would provide tenants extra assurance that their rent would not increase dramatically for 1 year beyond the end of the state of emergency. It would also prohibit the accrual of late fees on rent for the same period. And it's called Out of Reach 2021, the high cost of housing. It's a new report that correlates with income with housing affordability. The report finds that nationally, to afford a 2-bedroom apartment, you have to earn roughly $25 an hour. Officials say in Prince George's County it would take about $33 an hour to afford the same unit.
Many of the most common occupations across the country and occupations that are vital to the country as a whole, positions in retail or as grocery clerks, people who work as home health aides or personal care aides, they don't make the kinds of wages that would allow them to earn or to live in decent rental housing in their area.
The report was released by the National Low Income Housing Coalition. While she starred on stage and in music videos, now a former New York City dancer has opened a studio in her hometown, hoping to diversify the arts. Keisha Butch is in Hyattsville with the details.
Missouri Foreman is back home showing these ballerinas how to point their feet during her studio's ballet class. She says it brings tears to her eyes.
I realized that going to New York, I was blessed to have that opportunity. My parents were able to provide classes, but I realized that there's so many children in this community that don't have that.
It's called the Foreman Art School. Foreman says she wants to make a difference in at least one youngster's life.
Just knowing that I grew up in this area and these kids are here and they're learning from someone who came from exactly where they came from. So to me, it's just, I'm almost speechless that I'm able to actually do this and give back. It's very important to me.
All right, girls, this is called a posse. What's it called?
Foreman is a graduate of the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. She's also starred in several music videos, plays, and movies. Assistant Celeste Holder says Foreman was her teacher.
I'm working for her now. It's kind of like a full circle moment. It's very fulfilling, and I'm just honored to be here from the beginning.
Beautiful job, girl. Beautiful job.
Foreman also has classes for adults, but her main goal is to teach children. She says she wants to diversify the arts.
I want to make a difference. I no longer want to be the only woman of color on stage. I feel like the stage needs to be diverse, and it really starts with our kids.
Being here with these kids and seeing how, like right now with the pandemic, seeing how much the industry is working really hard to have that representation, it leaves hope for me.
While Foreman wants to make dance more inclusive, these little girls shawsing across the floor are having a blast.
I like about way we do weeps. I like spinning.
Foreman, who says she almost didn't pursue dance, wants these ballerinas to follow their dreams.
No matter how hard it is, whatever work that you have to put in, as long as you're passionate about it and you have that drive, you'll be able to accomplish it.
In Hydesville, Keisha Butts, CTV News.
Foreman is providing scholarships for the fall dance classes. And still to come, graduation day for Maryland State Troopers. That story after the break. Stay tuned.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back. Maryland Republicans are launching an effort to repeal the state tax on digital and streaming sales. The GOP senators are hoping to rally public support for the effort in the upcoming 2022 legislative session. The legislation passed in 2020 applies the state's 6% sales tax to digital downloads of books, music, video games, and other products. It also applies to online streaming services such as Netflix, Disney Plus, and Spotify. Analysts estimate the measure could bring in between $83 to $119 million annually. Nearly 3 dozen states have already have some form of the tax. Well, Maryland State Police mark a milestone anniversary and welcome new troopers today. The police agency celebrated its 100th anniversary with a graduation ceremony this morning. 46 new troopers graduated from the department's police academy. Governor Larry Hogan offered his congratulations.
This class has the distinction of beginning almost exactly 100 years after the very first MSP Academy class. And now, after you take your oath here today, Class 152 will be charged with leading this agency into its next century of service, a task which I know that you are both well-equipped and well-prepared for.
The graduation was held at Meriwether Post Pavilion in Columbia. Let's get a quick check now of our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 76. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a chance of showers expected in the afternoon, temperatures reaching a high near 94. Sunday, partly sunny with more showers expected and a high near 88. And Monday, partly sunny with a high near 94. And now for the community calendar, NASA is inviting you to join their next virtual session. Observatories, Our Eyes into the Unknown takes place July 22nd from 1 to 2 p.m. Speakers will share overviews of future missions that will continue to help our understanding of the universe. The session will also be broadcast and available for free to the public using the link on your screen. For more information, visit nasa.gov. And that's our news for tonight. We'll see you on Monday. I'm Byron Scott. Have a great weekend.